Your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic.
Good evening and welcome back to Mystic Matters. We are the Greater Mystic Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Tricia Cunningham.
Good evening, Suzette.
We are right in the middle of summertime.
Yeah, it's great.
July 4th is last week, and here we are. And Mystic is gearing up for some great shopping, great restaurants, just a lot going on downtown.
There's a lot going on throughout Mystic area, Stonington, Groton. There's so much to see and do. One of the things we'll be seeing a lot of upticks in our tourism accounts this year because the state has put a lot of funding into
reinvested back into our area.
Yeah,
which is
so you've probably
fantastic.
seen some of the commercials, the Still Revolutionary tagline, and it's been using the Still campaign. It's been great because it's just afforded a lot of different creative outlets. So you'll see a lot of promotions for the state, but on top of that, there's a lot of promotions for our region. So we have the Greater Mystic Visitors Bureau and the Tourism District that have partnered together to put public and private funding together to really maximize our local dollars to be able to promote the area. And all of that funding helps to market the mystic.org website, which helps funnel people into the eastern side of the state, which brings people into the coast area, the country area, the casino area, and of course the Mystic area. So,
and I think what's nice about this too, and it didn't reflect it years ago, but everybody that heads up some of these great institutions are coming to the table and saying, listen, we are in this together. We need to promote each other and drive attendance up. And I think that's what's great from today, as far as in comparison to maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So kudos to those
some of the major
chambers
partners.
and the major partners that are coming and sitting around the table.
Yep, that
And
includes
it-
Mystic Aquarium, Mystic
Right.
Seaport, Waterford Hotel Group. It includes Mohegan Sun, Foxwoods Resort Casino. So it includes all of those major partners. And then there's a lot of other businesses that support the website that help make this possible. And of course the Tourism District. And it's been great. And
attendance has been up.
it's been up
it's been-
consecutively for the Mystic Seaport and the Mystic Aquarium.
Right.
So we're very happy about that. And we use that kind of as a pulse for the rest of the area. So if they're up, that means invariably most of the other businesses in the surrounding area are going to be up as well.
Right, and you know we've done a campaign, big, heavy campaign on shop local and support your local economy, which is very, very important because not only do the institutions make out, but year round there's an effect. There's a domino effect. If you come visit us and shop locally, you'll see some of the wonderful restaurants and some of the wonderful shops that are mainly owned by small business owners. So you know, get on board and help everybody out and enjoy our town.
Yeah.
It's a great place to shop, live, and
play.
in Mystic.
A lot of our locals, you know, some of you, you know, tend to go to the Seaport and the Aquarium maybe on other parts of the year, and you know, and let the visitors, you know, enjoy the Aquarium and the Seaport throughout the year. But there's so many events that happen at nighttime, or you know, the Seaport was talking about Sunday concerts that they have. So there's opportunities to really come out during the summertime to enjoy those locations.
Well, you know,
I think people
speaking
forget.
about a local idea. Okay,
We've
a
got a
local
brilliant
entrepreneur.
local
We've
idea.
got a really a great concept here this evening that we want to talk about. And so at this time, I'm going to introduce Tony Perrone. Welcome, Tony.
Well, thank you.
Welcome to
Welcome.
Mystic Matters.
Oh, it's my pleasure to be part of Mystic and Matter.
And you know what? Mystic Matters to Tony. So listen, Tony,
Yes.
the workshop. Tell us all about this great concept and this whole idea. That's located. This workshop's located where? First of
Well,
all,
it's
tell
in
us that.
historic downtown Mystic,
Okay.
near the train station on 40 Washington Street. And thank you for your compliments because we hope it's unique. What it is a performance space, rehearsal space, function space, in a very unique lumberyard building. It used to be called the Mystic Lumberyard. And it's a long barn-like structure, and it has a balcony all around it. And it's not too big, it's rather cozy, but the balcony is about 20 feet in diameter all the way around, and it's has living room type furniture. In fact, some was donated by our local Chamber of Commerce.
We're familiar with that furniture.
Yep.
Very comfortable. And it originally started with an idea that young people in particular, under 21, don't really have a place to hang out, sort of, or create in front of their peers. Now, we have the Stonington Community Center, which is a great place. And so we decided that we should have a place that's sort of a semi-pro kind of feel, a little New York kind of bohemian style feel, and allow people of all different arts and crafts, because Mystic has a history of being kind of special, magical things sort of happen in
Yeah.
Mystic.
There's a lot of creativity in Mystic.
I think so. Through the years, I've certainly been influenced by a lot of it. And so we wanted to start something in sort of like an incubator for young people. And it's been a year and a half, and it's only gotten better and better.
So what kinds of events take place? You say some, kids under 21. What can you expect to see, happening at the workshop?
Well, the workshop is developed, and it's developed organically, so it's happened sort of as people just sort of find it and decide that they want to do something with it.
Right.
We've had a number of different categories. One is young people. We have young people's artwork on the walls, from 14 to 65-year-old young.
I like the 65-year-old young myself.
And the idea is that for people who don't typically have an opportunity to present their artwork in a formal setting such as the Mystic Art Center, to allow them to, as long as it's presented in a very professional way, in other words, it's hung correctly, to show their artwork to people. So we have the artwork upstairs and photography downstairs. And then the performance space, we have two little stages, and it kind of is configured two different ways. And the performance space that the young people have gravitated to is one that bands from Fitch High School, bands from Stonington, Montville.
When you say bands,
yeah.
what do you really mean by bands?
Well, first of all, any kind of music is played there. And what we've seen is bands, young kids playing rock and roll or new kind of music.
Sort of new age.
Well, New Age,
New
meaning
Age has a whole different meaning.
2012 kind of music.
I know. I'm a little
It's very
lost on
contemporary.
this.
It's very. First of all, the criteria to perform at the workshop is that it has to be original music.
Oh,
Now, if you've
okay.
ever tried to write your own song, it is difficult, and to write enough music to play for an hour is really difficult. And these bands in high schools need a place to perform to their peers, and that was the whole philosophy of starting the workshop, was to get them out of the school, get them into a sort of a semi-pro kind of environment where they can hone their skills, perform their music in front of their peers, without alcohol, without some of the problems that sort of arise when large gatherings happen, and then get inspired by the fact that they are performing outside of their school. And therefore kind of perpetuate...
And outside of their garages.
Outside of the
I know.
garages. And it sort of perpetuates sort of how I play music as a hobby, and I started thinking, how did it happen that here I am, 50-something years old, still playing music with my friends, is because of the similar situations where you play with your friends, you play out, not necessarily in
We
bars.
used to all jam together, like in a garage.
Right.
And years
whether
ago.
you're a pro or whether you do it as an amateur or a hobbyist, it brings a lot of satisfaction to you, whether it's music, or whether it's painting or art. So we have that area that's been very popular. It's also used as function space, so people rent it out for their birthday parties.
Birthday parties.
But
okay.
After
meetings?
wedding parties. Meetings, we have meetings there, people have meetings there. We have young housewives, two of them, in matter of fact, who every week take a couple hours out from their daily house, work or whatever, their kids, go there by themselves and play music and create music for themselves. One's
What a great outlet. Now, is there equipment there for them to use? Now that brings in a whole different, because I can't imagine them just going for a couple of hours. There must be some equipment there that they already have available to them.
Yeah,
something
we've been
available for
fortunate
them.
that people have donated. A lady donated a Steinway piano from 1906, which is in really good shape.
Wow.
We have another acoustic piano. We have drums. We have a PA system. All kind of modest equipment, but there's enough equipment there that you can just walk up and use it, perform.
So, Tony, how are you getting this word out? Because this is such a wonderful facility. You know, it's
Thank
a
you.
place for young people, and we keep referring to young people. At least Tony keeps referring to young people to basically express themselves.
Right.
It's wonderful. But how do people find out? How are you trying to get this out to the community?
Well, when I mentioned organic, we weren't necessarily trying to be a commercial enterprise. We were just trying to start something that would cover its cost and develop. So getting the word out has been a challenge because we haven't really advertised, and it's been more or less word of mouth. We've done a number of things to host groups. We just hosted the teachers from Cutler Elementary School for Get Out of School Day last week. And word of mouth, when they experience it, they find that it's quite unique, and that's how we've been developing.
Yeah.
We've just gone through the process of applying for a 501c3, which is a nonprofit organization. We're titled the Mystic Workshop Foundation, Inc.
Okay.
And as soon as that is, we've gotten the preliminary approval from the federal government, and as soon as we get the paperwork, then we'll be reaching out to the community for donations, tax-deductible donations, to fund this sort of community center sort of concept.
That's very exciting.
Well, I think it's wonderful because it really, the facility is right in downtown Mystic. And I think for those people who have lived in Mystic or the Outer Banks of Mystic, Stonington, and Groton side of Mystic, this is something that I think we should be embracing.
Well, exactly.
And it should become ours.
And especially
Thank you.
since he was talking about facilitating a place for young people to
Right.
go and play and to express themselves. I think that's one of the key elements that I appreciate about it, is having that. Because I remember, kids talking about years ago there was a community center where they could
was.
just go and hang out after
Right.
school, and
Right.
that's kind of a nice,
Well, there were
has a
actually-
nice appeal.
Yeah, it's funny that you brought that up because years ago, I'm not going to tell my age, I mean, just because Tony said he was in his 50s, I just won't say. But anyways, it was a community center on Pearl Street.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where a lot of us young, it was either the community center, Stonington Como, or the community center. And that was gone. Now it's gone. And it was great. We could walk into town. There was the bowling alley, and we could hold some, speaking of jam sessions, it was Roger Cannell, who was the executive director at the time, and we would go down there with our little, I played keyboard, and it was just great, and you could express yourself. And then that doesn't exist
Do you
anymore,
have
so-
open jam sessions, or certain
Well, we're going to
days
start one
where-
right now. Get back to your roots.
I could name a
I would
few,
love to see her on that piano
that-
you've
that-
got there.
That keyboard. and-
Is that something that you guys have, where, or
We
is
have
it
no
you have
structure.
to?
It's really whatever anyone would like to do. If
You have to
it's-
register for the space, though.
Yeah, you have to register for the
Okay.
space, and you have to chip in some money for the space
Sure,
sometimes.
yeah.
Um,
So if you're trying to develop this nonprofit, will there be some, an elected board or something
oh,
to
yeah.
oversee it, an executive director and
yes,
somebody?
totally structured.
Great.
Looks like
Those are
I'm
your
the
plan.
appointed executive director at this time.
Another hat, Tony.
It'd be happy for me. I'd be very happy if this really fulfills a niche in the community of Mystic, Stonington general area, and include. We call it a 20-mile driving radius. So Norwich, Montville, all those areas.
So if people want to use the space, what do they do?
They just call us or email us, themysticworkshop@gmail.com, and ask, tell us a date and tell us what they want to use it for, and then we just develop some sort of plan that they can use it.
Do you have a website, Tony Curley?
We do. It's
Okay.
called themysticworkshop.com or the Mystic Performance Workshop. They both go to the same place.
And you're on Facebook as well.
Oh, the Facebook. Yes, that's an interesting one because the young people got so excited about the workshop. that they developed a Facebook page for us.
Oh.
And then, of course, I had to join the Facebook to find out all about what it's all about. And it is an amazing way to network.
Yes.
And we get calls from all kinds of young people who want to play, perform. Some have never performed before in front of people, and they join other more established bands. And there's some very, very good talent here in this local market, and we're very happy to have a part of their development.
Is there one group in mind that stands out to you, Tony, that you could talk about?
Yeah, well, there's a number of them. From Fitch High School, there's Fish House. Fish House.
The Fish House.
Fish House.
Okay. The name of their band?
The
The
name
name
is
of their
cool.
band is
Okay.
called Fish House.
And the
Okay.
type of music that
The
they...
type of the music I would describe is a little reggae, a little ska, a little rock and roll, all blended together, all original music. They've won some awards in New London. They've won some, I think, winning awards throughout Connecticut now. And we're one of the first places that they played a year and a half ago. Another one...
How do they spell fish?
Fish? Fish.
Fish.
Fish
okay.
House.
Yeah.
Their logo is like an old fish house. It looks like
Yeah.
one of those ice houses.
That's cool.
And that's from Fitch. From Stonington, the Rhapsodists are very popular and very good. Also, a very innovative trio called Sam and Andy from Stonington, who play jazz. And
Trio called Sam and Andy.
Sam and Andy, their trio.
I want to know who the and is.
Yeah.
Sam and Andy, right? They're very good. There's Herf Jones, which is they're out of school now, but they're local, and they started at the workshop for the most part. And they're very innovative.
So
very
if one of
creative.
these bands has, what if you, on your website, do you have a list of who's playing when, and is that kind of open to the public? I know when there's private functions, those aren't, but how can you tell if it's open to the public?
It's
or not?
always open to the public unless we don't announce any private parties. So,
So anything that's listed on the website is open to the public?
yeah, it's listed on the website or on the Facebook page, the workshop, Mystic
Okay.
Workshop. And these are called, I've learned a lot from young people, these shows are called all ages shows. So that, when I originally said, let's call it under 21, and they said, well, what happens if my brother's 22? He can't come in.
Right.
And the beauty of this is that I realize is the parents come in. And the parents stand in the back and they watch their children perform. Proudly, and they try not to get in the way because their kids, of course, don't want them to be there too much.
Right.
But it's an amazing kind of phenomenon, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And
This must
hopefully,
keep you young, too, at the same
It
time,
makes
you
me
know?
feel
Get-
young.
Staying
And
involved
I
and
certainly have
staying
to.
in the loop.
What you need to know is that you need to not come in with any preconceived notions, and let because young
teaching
people
you something,
think
right.
differently than older
Right.
people do.
Yeah.
So I don't have any preconceived notions. We don't judge artwork or music except that it be original.
You accept it and embrace it. So, Tony, you have speaking with you have a passion for this concept, this workshop concept. So what was your inspiration behind this? There had to be something. A light bulb had to go off.
Well,
Because
nothing.
it's very original. Well, it's very original, and
Thank
we
you.
love it. And I think that the town and the community should embrace this. I think it's wonderful. But there has to be some kind of inspiration behind it.
Well, the inspiration, I guess, is that music has been part of my life, and music should be part of everyone's life, or creativity, let's just say. And there's just there's no longer these places where you can just
Right.
go.
To
It
express
seems
yourself.
that we
Yeah.
might have had when we were younger, and unless somebody does something about it, then it doesn't happen. So I thought maybe I should try to do something about it. One of the maybe the hurdles that people are afraid of is young people might get too rowdy. There's a liability. Well, we got plenty of liability insurance. It's not that expensive. The young people, as a matter of fact, have been incredibly well behaved. They realize what they have. They don't want to ruin it.
They've probably taken a sense of ownership.
That's exactly
Yeah.
what
Well,
that's what
they've
you've
done.
given them.
Yeah.
And they sort of
Yep.
kind of curb their peers. And
Yep.
there has been, in fact, there was a write-up in the New London Day about us at our year anniversary in February. And the police department from Stonington called us up and said, we haven't had any problems with you. What's going on there?
I can attest to that. Okay.
I mean, we end early.
Right.
We end relatively early, before midnight. The neighbors are very friendly, and it's mostly a commercial zone there, so it hasn't been a problem with anything. So I'm very happy about that.
Well, kudos to you, because it's great what you're doing, and it's great that you're giving the community this opportunity to have a place where they can express themselves.
Well,
And
thank
for
you.
artwork, how do they get, we talked a little bit about artwork, how do they get involved with posting their artwork there?
Well,
What's
that's
that
an easy one
process?
as well. You just send us an email, the workshop, mysticworkshop@gmail, and just ask if you can hang some artwork. And
So is it juried at all? Or
no,
is it
we don't have
just-
any of
okay.
that. No, we don't. As long as we have room, and as long as it's presented in a professional manner,
So that is that criteria. I mean,
that's that criteria. I mean, you can't put tape on the back of your sketch and
right.
glue it to the wall. It has
Right.
to be framed.
Well, that's great because that gives them ownership.
Yeah,
You know.
exactly. And we put your name next to it, and if somebody's interested in buying it, they call you up, the artist up.
So it's very simple.
Very simple, and it's really just to have a place to be exposed so that people can see what you're doing. And there's some innovation in the artwork world as well here.
So if you could see 5 years
I was
out,
just
Tony,
going to ask, I'm like, okay, 5 years from now, because they've done so much in a
Tricia
year and a
and I
half. You know, you've
have been
done a
together
lot
a
in a
long
year and a
time.
half.
Yeah, you
so
have. I'm just-
it's very impressive how quickly you've grown
Right.
and how quickly you've gotten the word out. Even though I think you always want to have a
Yeah, we
little
want
bit
to
more,
grow.
but
Well, the beauty of our situation is this building that we are in, this lumberyard building, we're in the middle section. It's been divided into 3 sections.
right?
And no one's in the other 2. The landlord's very sympathetic to what we're doing. She likes the idea. And so 5 years down the road, we would like to have
The whole
the whole
building.
building. You know, have some sort of coffee concession. I think it's zone mercantile now for
Yes.
the front of it, and so we could have a deli and maybe a chess club there and internet. We just got our first in-house filmmaker there. Just moved in last week. He moved all his equipment into the workshop, and he has these
That's
kind of cameras,
fantastic.
and he's made a lot of films from New York City. But he's originally from the Mystic area. He just moved back for a couple of years, a sabbatical. So we look forward to developing a whole broadcast aspect
Yeah.
of production.
it'll have a whole different level to what you're doing.
So yeah, so the arts would be, developed in all different types of medias, and so we look forward to that in the future. But we do need community support as a nonprofit. Parents and all sorts of people can get involved. So we look forward to developing that as well.
That's great.
And I'm sure when you get this nonprofit status in place, that there will also be room for a lot of volunteers as well.
Yes.
And
We've
that's
been-
where you get the, not the young people, Tony, but the little bit older generation.
Oh yeah, well, yes. Well, we have some really nice.
You know what, the young people
I-
make you young.
Let's
you
call-
you learn a lot together.
That's
so
true.
It's wonderful.
We have some nice things going on now. We have LaughWorks on Mondays,
Yep.
which is an improv.
Kristen Hartnett.
That's right.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
an improv night, and you just sit around, and they're all ages there, and you learn how to be relaxed and not just make people laugh, but be yourself in front of other people, and those kind of things are self-help sort of things. So we want to develop the whole self-help, non-accredited sort of self-help kind of programs and courses. So hopefully that's the direction that this will grow in with the community support.
It sounds like just a wonderful idea, Tony, and I hope that the community does come out and support this wonderful organization, the workshop. And you're located again at 40 Washington Street
Right.
in Mystic. And just tell us your website again.
TheMysticWorkshop.com. On Facebook, it's the Mystic Workshop, art and performance space. The email is themysticworkshop@gmail.com.
Good.
We are very, very happy that you are innovative enough and excited enough to present this to our town. So
Thank you.
welcome, and you celebrated your year anniversary.
In
Yep.
February.
In February,
Okay.
So
so
we're moving along, and And here's our challenge. We challenge you to start your
Absolutely.
your
Yeah.
old days of jam sessions there. And,
Old
hopefully-
days of
Well,
jam
I never
sessions,
jammed.
okay?
I just watched. So I'll be happy to
it's a
continue
very
that.
comfortable place to watch.
That'll be
'cause
much
you-
easier.
You can look down on people without being
Perfect.
seen. So it's a nice
Well, you know, I had
place.
this conversation with somebody the other day talking about the old Mystic Community Center. I said, don't you remember Oliver's on the corner and Ted's Pizza? And then I said, oh, never mind. Ted's Pizza is now Mystic Pizza, and it's finer line at Oliver's. So that'll take you back. But I do remember those days when you could express yourself and get on a keyboard or the drums or just express yourself vocally. So we'll have to come and visit.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. So Tony Perrone, thank you so much.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you
for
very
having
much,
me.
Thank
and
you,
it's been a
Tony.
real pleasure.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to
Tricia?
be part of Mystic.
As usual, my co-host and partner in crime.
My pleasure, Suzette.
We are Mystic Matters. Good evening.
And spirit fly into mystic. Let your soul and spirit fly into mystic. Into mystic. Into mystic.